Welcome to the Dietitian Against Diets podcast. I'm your host, Rashonda Thornton, dietitian that's about changing the mentality of how we interact with foods. I have an exciting set of people that are going to be on my show today. They are the owners of Titanium Fitness in St. Louis. Their name is Chuck and Diane Beckham, and I look forward to presenting you their story and why they built the gym the way they did. But before we get too deep into it, I want to acknowledge a few companies that are part of this podcast. One particular company is called Green Bean Delivery. I call it your grocery store in your hand, because what it is an online grocery store that allows you to go on, select any types of food you want that's already been certified through them as something that's organic, something that's clean, something that's less processed. And particularly, there are a lot of the companies on there that are we local in your particular location, so you have the opportunity to bring in some of those foods that are surrounding you. Go to their website if you want to take advantage of some of their specials. If you type in Better Vessel, BetterVessel, you get an opportunity to get 20% off your first 3 orders. No subscriptions. There's no underlining fees that you have to pay that you will be surprised. Everything is upfront. Instead of going out to the grocery store, take some time and, utilize your technology and the food will come straight to your door. Go to greenbeandelivery.com or follow them on Instagram at greenbeandelivery. Another great company, this one's actually in Illinois. They're a farm. They're a Mills farm. It's called Janie's Mill. So their motto is farm to mill to you. So what they are is they're a certified organic company that utilizes regenerative practices, which means there's a lot of sustainability in their practice. They're all about providing flavor with nutrition. Now, obviously, as a dietitian, you can't go wrong with that. They really, they're able to do that because they have a processing called stone milling, which allows the nutrients to stay within the grains and also with the flavor. So their products, they have a lot of integrity behind their different products that they make, anywhere from their grains to their meals. You can make any type of products that you want as far as your bread products. They have gluten-free products as well, like cornmeal. Go to their website. You kind of really know what Janie's Mill stands for. It gives you a purpose behind the name at janiesmill.com, or go online and follow them at Instagram on Janie's Mill. Okay, another episode of the Dietitian Against Diets. This is Rashonda here. We are part of this podcast celebration where I have 2 of my great friends here. Now, I knew these people a couple of years ago prior to even knowing them personally in regards to what they do within the industry, but we have found ourselves, I found a way to become full circle in what they're growing and what they're doing and what I do, and I think this is a great opportunity to have this conversation with these with his husband and wife. Their name is Chuck and Diana Beckham, and they're the owner of Titanium Fitness here in St. Louis. So outside of being a personal trainer, they're a personal trainer service. They have a gym, but they also include nutritional coaching, and they also incorporate what it is to be a whole person. So what does that mean? It means taking away the old facade we see when it comes to gyms and what we feel we have to be in with gyms. They really more so promote wellness and mental and the whole person. So I want to welcome Diana Beckham and Chuck Beckham to the podcast show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And as I said earlier, what's significant about them is they're a husband and wife. They're a team, and they have built this company from grassroots. When I say grassroots means a lot of tilling and a lot of foundation pieces to be built to create the overall product. And so, one thing I know that's significant about you individually is that outside of coming together to doing this, you all both have a story, And I feel when it comes to any endeavors we do with wellness and fitness or just improving someone's health, it comes from a personal place, And so, what I want to do is start digging into just what it is that causes you to do what you do with regards to your company. So one thing I asked you, Diana, when we were putting this together was, what is it about yourself that created this change for you? And the first thing you said was lacking fulfillment in your life. Right. Now, as a mother, as a past nurse, and now a business owner, what elements that has created that epiphany moment for you to come to that conclusion?
Well, it was a combination of things. It just kind of happened, not necessarily all at the same time, but over time, just having a realization that I really was a very unhappy person. Um, I went into nursing because I like to help people, and I had a personal health issues whenever I was young, and I was kind of in that period of trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up, and had an experience where I thought, well, maybe I could be a nurse, and I did like the healthcare industry, and I liked medicine. It was interesting to me, and so I went into nursing. But after 15 years in nursing, there's a lot of things you don't learn in nursing school that it's real life, and the challenges that came about. And over time, I just felt like I wasn't able to give the quality that I wanted to give in the field that I was in. And, maybe experience and age and other things that came about, I just realized that helping people in a proactive way was much more meaningful to me than helping people in reactive medicine.
Yes. And I mean, I think that says a lot for most people when they're in a career to feel like whatever career they go into, that's their career for life. And I feel like sometimes careers allows opportunities to see other pathways. And I think sounds like the combination of your career as a nurse, but also your personal life, you kind of find that that's not where you see yourself the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. So you decide to make a change in your own way.
Yes, and I don't think I would have felt this way except that I had gone through being a nurse for 15 years, and maybe that because I had a personal health scare or other things where I know that I really need to take care of myself, and I kept seeing people coming into the hospital where I wanted to teach them how to take care of themselves, but that's not how the system was made up to be. That's not how the hospital was set up. It's not in that way. So I kept finding this conflict, and I just decided that, being outside of the hospital and being able to create something that was the freedom to create and teach how I wanted to, and educate in that way, it allowed me to have that, and it was very rewarding and fulfilling.
Yes. Now, from my recollection, Dana, you were the one that kind of put the bug in Chuck's ear when it came to, even just getting into the business, the personal training business, which is how I think the birth of Titanium Fitness came into play, and so that piece that you just spoke about, and then as your progression through life, and then you're kind of somehow you guys cross each other's path. Chuck, one thing you said significant about you and the way you see things has a lot to do with just coming from your childhood, and even some of your career choices. There's it seemed like there was always a fitness component, but I think that it took you going through those different, I didn't want to call them obstacles, the different stair steps to where it was perfect timing, when it comes to just how you guys met and then how the Titanium Fitness has come about. Because it was, 2014 when you guys started?
Yes.
Yeah. And so kind of speak upon like how you felt like, how it was perfect timing for you, when it came to this idea of Titanium Fitness.
Well, currently, or I guess in 2014, I was a PE teacher at Bowling Green Elementary School, and then also was a coach and for football and track. And I just, I would drive 2 hours a day to go to this job, which I thought it was my dream job. I thought it was, but then it just, I just felt like I could do so much more with my life, but still make a large impact on individuals. Like when I was in middle school, I didn't know who I wanted to be when I grew up, right? So I knew I wanted to help people. And my dad was a substitute teacher. My mom worked at AT&T, and I went with the teaching career. And then, it's wild how we met. None of this was planned either. Like I honestly thought that I would be either a head principal at a school or like a D1 football coach.
Okay.
That's what I envisioned myself. In my mind, I guess I was like just turning 30 years old. Like and looking 6 years ahead of time, I never thought we would be in this position. You know, it's you can't always plan things out and expect them to go the way that you would expect them to. You know, like this was like, I did say when I was in college, like my ultimate goal in life would be to own my own business someday. Didn't really think it was possible, you know, didn't know how, didn't believe in myself, you know, but then once I met her, it's like, I feel like some kind of force, you know, drew us together. You know, that was one day at the gym and a couple of days at the gym. And I'm just very grateful and glad that things did happen the way they did. And I feel like a lot of us can create our own opportunity. A lot of my friends say I'm lucky.
Yes.
But I don't really. We went to the casino once, and first time I ever played, I won $200.
That's what you call
That's
lucky.
luck. But this is not luck.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I feel like you create your own opportunities, you know, with the actions that you have daily, and it comes down to making the right choices to help you achieve your goals. You know, so.
I agree with that. And I know, Diana, you decided to leave, right? To leave the nursing.
Yeah,
And then
I think my initial idea that I posed to Chuck was out of maybe a little bit of desperation, because I was so unhappy. We were both doing personal training on the side.
Okay.
I was really unhappy in a nursing field. I'd say about 8 years ago, I made some decision, changed some things in my life, and really was focused on my own health and my self-care, self-love type. I wasn't thinking that at the moment, but I was just like, I'm really unhappy, and I'm in some not so great relationships and not so great jobs. And I decided, from now on, ask myself 2 questions when I make decisions in my life. And is it healthy? Am I happy? And so moving forward over time, I was asking myself these questions as I was thinking about what's next in my life or what I'm going to do. And I was really unhappy in a nursing field. And I changed a couple of jobs a couple of times, and I just kept seeing the same. I still wasn't feeling any better about it. Yes. And I was watching Chuck as he, when we met, then he was living in Bowling Green when we met. Okay. Somewhat, and he would be home on the weekends. And so after we were seriously dating, he moved back to the St. Louis area, and, seeing him commute and work so hard, and, unfortunately, teacher salary is limiting. I'll leave it at that. And, seeing him commute and all the effort and the work he's putting into it, and then me being a little worried, like him driving home, late nights on the weekends after football games, and making sure that, he's not falling asleep. And we searched for jobs in the St. Louis area, see if we can find him a job closer to home. His mom was sick. He needed to be closer to home, and the market was saturated. So
many things.
We were, trying to find a better way for him to have a job in the field that he was in, and we weren't getting anywhere. And I was unhappy where I was, and I really found a lot of fulfillment with personal training, even though I wasn't doing it very much. I really liked it. And so that's when I was like, well, what do you think about doing this? And I said, what do you think about leaving teaching and starting a personal training business with me? And
without hesitation, I said yes.
Yes. And so my thought was...
No hesitation. Like, let's do it.
I was still like, I had to transition, though. I couldn't just jump. So, I have, parental obligations, and I was, I knew that I could do it, but, they always tell you don't quit your day job. So I had to have some strategy on how to transition over, but that's when the ball started rolling, is like whenever we talked about that. And
there's 2 reasons I moved from Bowling Green. I had no intentions of doing that. I met Diana, and then that same summer, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And I was like, okay, something else I do too is I put others first a lot of times, no the majority of the time, I would say. And I highly recommend that to anybody listening and watching to this. It feels good to do that, be a giver, not a taker. So it was those two major things, and I was like, well, I guess I'm moving back, and I traded my truck in for a 2006 VW Bug.
So you just jumped all in.
You barely fit in it.
I did.
Wow, that says a lot.
Like my students and Diane and the boys were saying I looked like Mr. Incredible driving that little car. But I didn't care. It had 48 miles to the gallon. You know? It was a diesel. And a lot of people were like, is that your wife's car? I said, no, sir. It gets 48 miles to the gallon. It's mine.
Yeah. So fast forward, so now that you guys jumped into this thing, kind of speak upon like what does it look like now? What has it blossomed into when it comes to your gym environment, the field, your clientele, who you're choosing to bring in to your facilities and work with?
Well, one of our number one things is creating a positive environment, and it's important that we know everybody's name that walks in the door.
That's a big deal.
It is. When somebody knows your name, you feel like, oh, they know who I am, and they care. Mm-hmm. That's another thing, is that we truly care in what we do, and we care about the results and how people feel, and want to make sure that their needs are being met, and we try to exceed our expectations and their expectations. So like if you come in the door, especially in our front area, our foyer area that Dinah designed, she's a great designer too. She didn't know that, but she's great. She's got
so much creativity
I
think
know.
can come out of it when
she's
you're
a
on your own
valedictorian
thing.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
that's
no,
cool.
when you come in, it's like a home environment, professional,
on purpose,
clean,
intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Welcoming. You just want anybody at any level that comes in, and it's a comfortable space to walk into, and the gym is after that. So it's familiar. It's like anybody can walk in and not feel like, oh, I don't belong here. It's welcoming.
Yeah. So anytime you work with it as a team in any type of effort, there's strengths that others have, and sometimes they pull it, and there's other strengths that another person have that they pull it. So as working together as husband and wives in creating this fitness company, what strengths have you seen from each other that you've been able to come and match together to keep this pushing forward?
Should we start with personalities?
I was going to start with anybody listening, everybody listening to this. Communication is the number one thing in any relationship, whether it's husband, wife, working professionals, parents and children. Mm-hmm. You have to communicate. If you see a red flag, don't be insecure in your mind and think, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know how your mind can race sometimes. Just say it, call it out. If you have a question about it, get it done and figure that out. And then having a strategy, and then she could probably take it from here. Go ahead, hon.
Well, I think our personalities complement each other. Like, he's super laid back, and I'm a little more keyed up, and so he helps me be more relaxed, and then I help him be more assertive.
Yes.
And I think that he has a gift of working with more difficult clientele, and I might have more of a gift of being business savvy. So, or we know each other's strengths, and maybe shadows of our strengths, that we recognize it, and I try to honor those things that I know he's good at, and just let him do that, what he's good at, and he tries to do the same. And of course, people tell us routinely, I don't know how you guys work together, like husband and wife, and at work all day. And I said, yes, but we're next to each other, we smile at each other, but our time is devoted to the person that we're with, our clients. So it's not like I have to sit at a desk with him and discuss work-related things all day long. That happens at dinner, but I'm just kidding.
Not really.
No,
sometimes maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
which is it happens.
It's just part of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like, of course, it takes work, but I think that we know each other well enough that the ebb and flow, and there's a balance, and it's not always smooth, but we do talk things out, and
We work it out.
Yes.
We find a way, you know, and also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll finish your sentence.
I was just going to say that, you know, as a husband, I've observed successful marriages and unsuccessful marriages or relationships. And if there's one tip I could give to the, you know, I guess the husband or either party, whichever the roles play out, is that don't sweat the small stuff, you know, and, you know, if you disagree, ask yourself, is it worth it to address this? You know, just kind of let it
decide.
Yeah, you don't have to always be right.
Yes.
I think that's a big problem with some, you know, relationships. Is you got two bulls freaking fighting. One of those bulls eventually's got to say, you know what? Take the torch and run with it. I support you.
Yeah.
You know.
And it seems like the way your dynamic is reflected. I'm sure that you create that same type of vibe in the gym. You know, like it's good that you're able to be it's perfect what you said. People say, well, how do you guys just be around each other 24/7? Well, you're there physically, but mentally and business wise, you're with your clients.
Yes, we're focused on the keyword on our clients. You know, and a lot of times I actually, this may sound weird, but we really don't have a lot of time to spend together. Like we have to have a set, we have to have a set date night.
Yeah.
You know, if not, you know, you can tell we need to have one.
Yeah, and it's good if you're making intentions to do that, because you can say, "Oh, well, I see you all the time." No, well, you do, but in what capacity? Is there ability for intimate times? There's ability for communication. It's not.
We're not holding hands. We're not kissing. You know, we're focused on our clients, getting our work done.
Yeah,
we're putting our clients first. You know, we'll make time for us to be together, but you have to schedule it and put it in your calendar.
Yeah,
you can't make any excuses.
One thing that one thing I got out of just reading both of you guys' bio is that you really focus on self-image, you know, with your clients, and you focus on just building confidence. Why is that? You know, to me that's what's unique about what you guys do. You know, I just hear this. Help someone to lose 10 pounds or look good for their wedding. You know, you're also looking at the layers underneath. So why is that such an important piece to what represents your company?
Can I start?
Sure.
Okay. Well, a lot of times I relate things to myself when I was, you know, like, I guess in adolescence. I was overweight, depressed. You know, I used drugs, marijuana. And I just didn't. I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been in the low, and I've been on the, you know, I don't call it a high, but just this steady confidence. And I know how it feels to feel like a worthless piece of, you know what?
Yeah.
I know how that feels, and I know how important self-worth is. You know, and I used to also teach. I was in special ed too. I think that's where I got my patients from too.
Thanks.
You know, so, but I'm telling you though, if you have somebody trying to stab you with a pencil, you can't touch that kid. You might be able to restrain them, but you got to think, I'm here to help this person. And I try to put myself in their shoes and think of it that way.
And sometimes it's not about you. You know, when sometimes someone's upset or they're short-tempered, and being able to separate that, you know, like I think you said something also in your biography, how you guys in some way, form, or fashion have been bullied in different levels, whether it's in you know, some part of your life or different parts of your life. But instead of like retaliating or getting into the game, you choose to fill them with kindness, you know, do the complete opposite, you know?
That's right. And something else with that is, we've both been bullied in our adult lives at the same time and several times. And, you know, I didn't play the victim card. You know, what good is that going to do?
Yeah.
What kind of character does that show? You know, so try to use that negative energy and transform it into positive energy and do good with that. You know, I somehow was able to nobody taught me that. I just was able to figure it out. Because I create this person or this life that I really desired, that I thought was, you know, really cool or an ideal, you know, and I focused on it, and that's what Diane and I have, you know, accomplished, and we just always set new goals.
Yes.
I'd say that I think that it's not just coming in and losing weight or coming in and gaining muscle or, you know, I feel I have a lot of clients that have functional needs. Like somebody wants to get down on the ground and play with their grandchildren, or somebody who wants to, they can tell. We have a lot of clients that are 35 and older up to, 85.
Okay.
That just seems to be what we're drawn to, or is drawn to us. With my nursing background, people feel comfortable working with me because I have a even more in-depth understanding of the body and physiology, anatomy and physiology. And, I've taken care of a lot of patients who've had post-surgical or injuries and such. So I think they feel comfortable that I'm, and nursing is one of the most trusted professions. So that is in my favor in that way. That's easier for people to trust. There are personal trainers out there that don't always make the best choices for their clients, and for one reason or another, and somebody might get hurt, or maybe somebody's not listened to. So I feel like, really listening to the client. I think the whole health aspect, it just has to be, because you can't just come into a gym and, exercise with me 2 or 3 hours a week, 1 to 2 to 3 hours a week, and then that be what's going to make the difference. It's all those external factors of how's your sleep, how's your stress, how's your nutrition. All those things are so important. It all goes together, because if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to have a good energy. If you're not eating proper nutrition, you're not going to, it's just brain function, all those things.
It's more to it than just moving.
You can't just section it apart. It's just
it has to be it's all connected.
It is. You can't, and even if you just talk about nutrition and exercise, sleep and stress,
those are other components,
are a big factor. So I can't just categorize it into one thing, because the level of success goes down significantly unless you're educating them on all those pieces.
I agree. And that, and having the lens, you have your lenses come from being a mother, being in the medical industry, and now being in the fitness industry. And so, there's a common thread of what health looks like in that reign.
And what maybe even having a personal risk of cancer my own self, and how that risk still continues. It's much less now, but I still have that risk of, having cancer. It runs in my family, and, I'm always mindful of that. So, understanding that my health is a gift, and every day is a gift. And so, not everybody sees it through that type of lens. So I think that makes me a little more passionate about it.
Yes. And tell me, from, there's so many different ways you can play this, but, coming from a place of, let's try to talk in the vein of nutrition and just how we look at it. Because I believe, Chuck mentioned, like, everything is quick fix. You take a pill, it's this magic puff moment, when it's nutrition, has not been giving the amount of attention it needs. It gets, to me, I feel it can get overshadowed sometimes, or been taken for granted. And just from both of you guys can speak on just your personal experience, but just how your lens has transformed when it comes to what is a definition of, like, healthy living or healthy eating when it comes to your nutrition, or is it just a list of do this, don't do that, or this equals this many numbers, this equals this many numbers, like, things, being in the wellness industry, like, how have your lenses when it comes to talking to your clients about what nutrition means for them? How has that changed for you personally and professionally? And I'll ask you the same question.
I think that
whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. Well, first, each person, you have to look at them uniquely.
Individually,
yeah. Because even the same food in a different body can have a different response. It is very complex. But I think learning about what they already know, how much they've been influenced by potential false information, or, just kind of getting a baseline of that person, and then going from there, saying, okay, well, I look at what you're eating, and we've kept it, you're keeping a food journal for me, we're reviewing it, and, just educating them on the importance of having a balance. I think, anything that, first things I say to them is, is it sustainable? Whatever it
Good
is that you're
question.
doing, is it sustainable? Is this something that is realistic? Is this something that you can do long term? What's your life like? If you're an attorney and you have this huge deadline and you have hours and hours that you're just like working endlessly and you don't eat, you know, I'm not going to, I'm going to give them a different kind of food advice than if I have somebody who has a different
The
lifestyle.
ability to
Right.
have
So,
everything prepared
you
and
know,
cooked.
it's just kind of like, how will this function for you? And this is, how do we help you have the nutrition that you need so that you have the brain function that's going to be optimal for making those big important decisions whenever you're working on a case.
Yes.
Or, like just kind of, and even hydration.
I
all
look
those
I look at
things.
it, I tell people all the time, you need to marry life with nutrition because people want to live life and then they want to eat healthy. It's never, they never join or co-join. And if people don't know how to embed nutrition weave it into their life, it would never become a part of their life. And you have two different people. If one person travels and has an executive position versus one that may, may
Work
be a
from home
teacher,
or
or
something.
have a consecutive schedule, their life dynamic is different. Their nutrition is different. There's no cookie cutter way that it's done. So you made a good point. You have to take in consideration the entire person to kind of help give them advice on what's going to work for them. Because the whole biggest piece is it sustainable? Because if it's not sustainable, it's going to be short lived. Or they're going to toss it out, and just give up.
Right. If it's unrealistic or, I'm doing these shakes and I'm like, that's great. You're doing these shakes. So you're going to do these shakes for the rest of your life, and just like, what's next? And I try to think about talking about food more than, or here's some examples for ideas for, or realistic things. Like maybe we're taking them to the grocery store and we're talking about, how to shop in the grocery store and where your most nutrient dense foods are, maybe in the perimeter of the store, and box foods or more processed foods are in the center of the store. And how do you, gauge,
Provide them application.
right. And, the inconvenience of having food that does go bad, but that's what's best for you. If it goes bad, it's good for you.
I love that. It's called inconvenience. Then you got convenience food. It's the complete opposite. So.
Yeah. So, and it's like, okay, so maybe there are times whenever you're going to have a convenience food because you're working long hours and that's your emergency kit. This is something that's better than nothing, but this is like a percentage. We're going to try to aim for this type of percentage for our processed foods because we know that you're not going to be able to completely have it without, like trying to give them a cushion so they don't feel like I can't do this, so I'm just going to throw it all away, just trying to, allow a little level of forgiveness, but teach them the baby steps to help them, work towards the habits that are going to be sustainable.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. What about you, Chuck?
Yes, a lot of it is just the education component of teaching the clients how to think for themselves, and that takes time. It took me years, but like what you were saying earlier, I do have, is it okay if I read these top 10?
Sure.
Like kind of 10 commandments, if you will, or 10 things this is something that Dinah and I created.
Okay.
So I'm going to go read these 10. And then also one thing is, remember, don't go on a diet. It's a lifestyle. Diets are temporary, lifestyles are forever.
That's
How
why I'm
true
the
is that?
dietitian against diet for the exact reason.
That's right.
Yeah.
So number 1, set realistic goals, take baby steps. Number 2, plan ahead. That's huge right there, plan ahead.
Proactive, yes.
Number 3, minimize sugar every day. Everybody's a little bit different, but I found that less than 50 grams is ideal for men and women. Alcohol.
If you start eating this whole foods, sugar would be eliminated. If you take out
Yeah.
processed foods,
Eat like a farmer.
you would totally,
No,
sugar,
She disagrees, but eat whole foods.
eat whole foods. Because when you do that, there isn't sugar. It's a natural sugar, if so. Like you're getting it from your fruits. So, you're not getting a processed sugar. So just swapping foods to get more whole foods versus something that's packaged or bagged or jarred or canned.
That's
is
why we
gonna
try to
naturally
have
take out some of those sugars.
let's try to have a percentage, majority of your food, not in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, have it come from a natural
Majority of your
fruit,
food does
your
not have a
sugar.
barcode, try to go that route, like.
Good point.
And then
Easy.
real quick, a little some information that kind of blew my mind away was I was actually guest speaking at AT&T about like 3 or 4 years ago for my Aunt Mary. I looked at this person's, it was a Pepsi, not diet, just regular Pepsi. I think it was a 1 liter, and it was 69 grams of sugar for one serving, and there was 2.5 servings in there. So you're looking at, let's see, 140,
Yeah.
close to 200 grams of sugar
Within
in
that
that one
container.
drink.
Yeah.
And they were like, in that one moment, that guy, it was either a man or woman, I can't remember, but they were like, they actually lost 20 pounds after that meeting just from watching their
Change.
sugar.
Yeah.
True
It's
story.
simple. It's simple things
crazy.
that can create change. But people, if they don't understand these numbers and what all this mean or the impact it makes in their body, it's not important. But sometimes you can create something tangible or concrete. It makes a reality.
Yeah, make it realistic. Think at the micro. I think nutrition-wise, people complicate it.
Yeah.
It happens to all of us. All right, number 4, alcohol can sabotage a good plan. Don't eliminate it, but if you go out, instead of having a Budweiser, have a vodka and a Sprite or something, with lime. Avoid processed foods and fast food. This one, number 6 is huge. Portion control. Portion control. Number 7, track your food and daily intake. Like Dinah said, have a food journal. Just look and see. That's one of the first things I do. I look and see. Write down, what do you have for 3 days? I don't care if it's a beer for breakfast and ice cream at night.
Yeah, unfiltered.
Write
Just
down.
to see what it looks like when you put it all
It's a
together.
no
and step
judgment.
back.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to hurt if you don't tell me the truth, you're hurting yourself, not me.
Yeah.
Number 8, balance your food plan with protein, carbs, and fats. Okay. Number 9, seek support from anybody that can help. Okay. You have 3 professionals right here you can talk to. And also, number 10, try to do at least 30 minutes of physical activity a day. Now, one thing that we didn't include in this that's very important, 2 things: hydration and sleep. The ideal number of water is take your body weight, divide that by 2. What, you have that number? Take your body weight, divide it by 2.
Yes, because you go by kilograms. So your kilogram is 2.2 kilograms per pound. So just basically your kilograms.
Oh, I see what
what you
you're
weigh
saying.
in kilograms.
Or you can divide that by 2 and have ounces.
Depends on which way you want to go.
Which
Or I
way?
sometimes say your body is 60% water, so whatever your weight is gets 60%. Your poundage gets 60% of that, and that's your ounces. So I look at it too. Like it's different ways you can calculate it, but I think generally, going by the 8 glasses of 8 ounces a day just to get people something, because they're trying to calculate numbers. Or I say get a 30 ounce container like this, drink it 3 times a day.
Yes.
You're good. That way
Yeah.
you're not sitting there counting each ounce. Just make a point to drink that 3 of them every day.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And also pay attention. Pay attention to something that I think that Dinah and I might be something I've noticed that we do is we pay attention to detail, which makes a big difference. Not everybody does that,
Yeah.
But what it comes down to is, first I'll look at the clients, I'll assess the client and see what they're currently having. And then I make small changes. Again, this is a lifelong process.
It is. And helping to help people understand it's not, you got to flip the ship completely over.
Yeah.
Everything is a
Just little
transition.
bits.
It takes time to learn, to implement, to get comfortable with it, and then learn more, implement, and then you slowly progress. If you try to throw everything out the window that you used to do and bring in all these new things, totally
Yes.
it's not even a good route to go, because you can't even mentally, education wise or emotion wise or juggling your time, you can't hold it both. So yes, it is frustrating we want to do things so quick. We learn quick means success.
Well, that's the
Not
way these
success.
days.
Success is taking time and learning about yourself, learning about what works for you, and implementing that to where it becomes like breathing. You want to be like second nature.
Well, I try to I try to make it relatable to if we work with a lot of successful professionals, and I think about whenever you started in your career path, or like when you were in school and then you got out into your industry and you were new and you were just learning and you progressed and you built on that, and now you have like a major success in your field. This is kind of like taking that and shifting it into your fitness goals or your nutrition goals, and you're like taking that same path, and now it's not going to be like, you're not going to be here.
You're not automatically get your degree. You have to study, you have to work, you got to put work in behind it.
And put that same mindset of determination and purpose towards it, but know that, I'm sure you made mistakes in this arena and you learned, and it's the same process. It's just, you have to be patient with yourself, and patience is really lacking. And I can say for myself too, but just forgiveness and patience, and just every day is a fresh start, and try not to be too hard, we're here to help support you, so that if you feel like quitting, we talk about it, we work through it.
You work with the person.
And have that some accountability partner or somebody that you can come back to and say, I'm done. Like that first 30 days of excitement is long gone, and I just feel like I can't do it. And
and then people get frustrated, throw their hands up. So I think what's most important is helping them to understand it's a team effort. Like you're there with them, they're not alone, but they're also the ones responsible for making those choices.
Right.
It's not they have to learn to take ownership, because when you take ownership, then you recognize the progress you've made, because you did it, and it gives you more confidence to do more and do more. So I agree with you on the small changes.
And also, you got to listen to one person. There's so many different things out there on the internet.
False marketing is crazy.
Yeah, listen to one person that look at what they've done. Or look at them. Are they in shape? Are they, it just, but it comes down to balance and just, educating and eating whole foods. There's no quick fix. Quick fixes do not last.
It doesn't. So we are having to come to a close. And
I got to do a part two.
I know. That's exactly what I was going to say, because I didn't even get a chance to talk about your product. And I definitely want to know more about that, and even just how this came, because this came around the same time that Titanium Fitness came, right? So that's a whole nother. So we just have to do a part two, just from what I see.
That's cool. I love it. This is fun.
I want you guys to come back for sure.
A blast.
Yeah.
This is great.
So in the meantime, I want people to be able to connect with you guys and know where you guys are located. So where are you guys located? What's your website address? What's your IG? Like, what are all the ways people can reach out and know more about your services?
We're in Brentwood, Missouri. Address is 854 Hanley Industrial Court. They can text my number at 314-603-9139, or email us at titaniumfitnessllc@gmail.com. And then our Instagram, go ahead and tell them. I think it's Titanium Fitness ST or St. Louis.
Yeah, Titanium Fitness St. Louis. And then
Facebook.
Yeah, it's just Titanium Fitness. And then our website is titaniumfitnessllc.net.
.com was taken, so we went with .net. We're owning .net.
Well, so. I get it. Well, you gotta, but they got the same. They got the Titanium Fitness in there.
We've got a few free downloadable PDFs. So one is a really awesome protein bar recipe, and one is helping you sleep soundly, and I think another one is minimal equipment workout.
So you
guide.
got some.
So you've got some free things there, and some we've really built up our blogs, and we have some really great information on our blogs.
Well, I'll tell you guys from personal experience, when I went in the gym, I loved the feel of it, and I totally get what it means. When you guys are telling me this, it's I know what you guys mean, because I've been in your place of business, and I just commend you on all the hard work you've done and how you come together. And I mean, I've also know how the gym came about too, some of the places you guys been and get you to where you're at now, but at the end of the day, success is defined by the vision coming into fruition and creating happiness and creating an environment for other people. Like I say, I as a dietitian, my vehicle to help people to be happy is nutrition. And seems like you guys have a vehicle too, and that's you using your platform, which is your gym, but you're also teaching people and working with people built underneath in different layers that they may not be aware of. I think that's what's so significant about it. So One thing, some of the takeaways I've gotten from what Titanium Fitness represent is that they're not just about improving the body physically, but they're about improving self-confidence and just what body image means to a person. And they're also incorporating the nutrition component where they're about building healthy habits and what does a lifestyle look like. And they take the holistic approach. It's not just about the body, it's the mind. What does your shirt say, Chuck, real quick? Strengthen your body, strengthen your mind. And that's what, to me, what Titanium Fitness represents.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So again, guys, I just knew the time was ticking. I was like, oh, we're not even halfway done. But that's how it works, because that means you guys will come back on again. But I do just appreciate you guys taking the time, because like I say, you're a business owner, so you have to carve out time to come up here and have this conversation. But these are the conversations we need to have to help people to start thinking differently. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I really appreciate it. Yes. Again, this is Rashonda Thornton, a dietitian against diets. And if you haven't seen already, having partners and having people like this on my show is what creates those conversations to help you to start thinking differently and reconnecting your body with your nutrition and with your life. Okay, so those are in St. Louis. I hope you guys now know who are these faces of Titanium Fitness, and you know what their gym is all about. So thank you guys for coming out and being a part of my podcast show. So as we're coming out of this particular interview, I want to give some shout outs to some partners that were a part of this podcast. One in particular is Midwest Dairy. They are a dairy council that's a collaborative efforts of dairy farmers that are really trying to get the word out of the healthiness of dairy products. Not only how healthy they are, but what are their processes behind the scenes? How are they caring for their farms? How are they caring for their land? They believe in caring for their customers, caring for their cows, and caring for the land. Now, to me, that's a 3-in-1 reason as to why the format of dairy has really transitioned into things that are outside of just the milk product. They have a lot of farmers on their website that really want you to know who they are. A lot of times when you know who people are, they're not just someone that processes things. It allows you to have opportunity to connect with them as a person. They're really big about educating you as well. They have a lot of research-based evidence information on there to help you to understand the benefits of dairy and dairy products. And also on the fun part, there's a lot of recipes on there as well. Go to dairygood.com and you will see exactly what I'm talking about, and you see some of the sustainability practices that they have implemented into their processes. Also go to Midwest Dairy on Instagram and you're able to follow them, and you'll be able to find some of those recipes I was talking about. Another company that is here in St. Louis. Actually, this one is right around the corner in Brentwood. It's a company called Banner Road Granola. I actually know their chef personally. She was a chef before she built this particular product. She was a chef, but she was also a runner. So she put together her love for running and exercise and found a way to make a granola that was clean, that's organic, and that's tasty. So her unique recipes that she's collapsed these different flavors from savory to spice to sweet, to where it rearranges the way our tongue is used to tasting granola. And she's also has a lot of recipes that give you some ways to be creative with your granola. I will tell you now that since I've had Banner Road's granola, I can't see myself going back to the traditional granola that I used to eat. If you want to learn more about their granola products, go to bannerroad.com. and you will get to see the varieties and the different flavors that they have. You can also follow them on Banner Road on Instagram to just see some of the pictures, see the creativity just in the visual way. Great company, and I'm proud to be a partner with them. So hope you guys got some great information today, like always, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week.